I have 6 o'clock. It looks like everyone is here. I'm seeing names, but I don't see everybody's picture, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. We are ready to go. Can we do the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Or Andrew, do you want to inform us about the rules here? We've done this enough times.
Yeah, we have done this a couple times, Mr. Mayor, but as always, this is an electronic meeting. We'll be doing all our votes via roll call. We do have the ability for residents to attend and make public comment on each agenda item, as well as during the visitors' comments section. Other than that, I think we can move forward, Mr. Mayor.
All righty. Can we do the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of
of the United States of America, to the republic
for which it stands,
stands
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the next item on the agenda is the invocation, and if you got your meeting or your notes earlier, we did not have somebody, so at this point in time, I wasn't able to get a hold of a pastor to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and provide a very short invocation. Shall we bow our heads, please? Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you for being with us tonight for our commission meeting. Please be with each commissioner as we discuss the agenda items before us, and give each of us a way to view each one item and to be able to make a decision that is right for the citizens of the city of Sturgis. I ask that you please continue to guide our city staff and watch over all of our personnel in each department. In your name, I make this prayer to you. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please, Andrew or Ken.
Commissioner Mullins,
Present.
Commissioner Burr,
Present.
Commissioner Klinger. Okay, not here. Okay. Commissioner Wiki,
Here.
Commissioner Malone,
Here.
Commissioner Littman,
Here.
Vice Mayor Good,
I'm here.
Mayor Heil,
Here,
and
present.
Commissioner Klinger, are you here?
Yes,
Yep.
I am.
Okay.
A little bit of video trouble. I'll get it here shortly.
All righty. Next item on our agenda is proclamations and presentations. There are none listed, so we're going to go to the visitors section. Is there anybody in our audience tonight that would like to bring something to the commission that is not on our agenda? Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For those joining us via the Zoom meeting, if anyone would like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand feature as part of your Zoom program at this time. I see none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Andrew. We will go down to the next item on the agenda. I will take approval of the agenda.
I move for approval of tonight's agenda with the additions of medical marijuana and COVID-19.
Those two items that Mike sent you out, sent the commission out a email on that, so hopefully you have those for you. I have a motion to accept the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second by Commissioner Klinger.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion to approve and a motion to second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
and Mayor Heil.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is I will take the approval of our consent agenda. A motion to approve our consent agenda, please. I think Skip's talking, but he's got to be unmuted. There he goes.
Okay, Commissioner Littman, I'm going to move for tonight's approval of the consent agenda with the addition of DDA auction of the car. And it looks like that's it. And the cruise in.
What Commissioner Lippman is adding there is the DDA is having an October car cruise-in request. So that's the addition to the consent agenda. Commissioner Lippman's making a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
That was you, Mr. Wiki?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Motion to approve and second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Klinger,
Well, yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Lippman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
and Mayor Howe.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is unfinished business. I see none, so we will move on down to the new business. The first item on our agenda is the Sturgis Civic Players Variety Show. Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners. We do have with us tonight Colin Eastman of the Sturgis Civic Players, as well as I believe a few other board members. They're joining us via Zoom tonight. They've submitted a request for an event, Spookin' Follies, and I'll let Colin explain a little bit more, but it's scheduled for either the date of October 24th or 31st at Oaklawn Park from 5 to 7 p.m. They're planning on having food service there, sponsored and run by the Sturgis Young Center for the Arts. And they will be accepting donations. The Civic Players are, of course, a 501c nonprofit organization, and therefore through our event policy, they are covered for accepting donations. Colin can again talk about this a little bit more. It's not going to be a very robust in your face asking of donations, more just if someone wishes to donate that they can. We talked with Colin about kind of their plan for handling COVID-19 procedures. That includes limiting the size of the crowd and then also encouraging social distancing. And they do have a plan that includes kind of marking out the area, having people posted at the entrance, and then also having seating spaces marked out well. For those that are actually participating, and again, I'll let Colin explain a little bit more, but they also have a robust plan for keeping social distancing there. So with that, I'll turn it over to Colin, and then after he's done, we'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, hello. Thanks you guys for having us here today to speak with you about this. Yeah, we wanted to go ahead and do something with the community, Spookin' Follies over at Elklawn Park using the amphitheater. It's going to be a small variety show, hopefully encouraging businesses as well as maybe hopefully you guys to come in and show us the talent you got. We do have it set up for how we're going to section it off. So we'd actually go like from 12 feet from the stage. And then we would start sectioning off one large section and then go ahead and section off into smaller sections to where we would be able to have families or small groups be able to be in there as well as individuals. And then that would be also marked off with either circles or gravestones. So that way people would be able to sit 6 feet apart, as well as markers from the very beginning and roped off to where the section begins to where we would have to stop if we exceeded the limit that we were allowed to have at the venue for social distancing. And then we would also have been geared with the food trucks there with Sturgis Young Auditorium, and that would also deter people from being at one spot at the same time, hopefully venture over to get food and everything like that.
Thank you. Andrew, do you want to add to that before I ask commissioners if they have comments or questions?
I don't believe I have anything to add, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission for either Colin or the Sturgis Civic Players or Andrew?
Commissioner Klinger has his hand raised.
Commissioner Klinger.
Just happy to see the Civic Players active and putting themselves out there as available as possible for, with all COVID measures applied. Nice to see you, Colin. Glad to hear you guys are bringing out an opportunity for some performing arts again. That's all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments from the, before I come back to look like Colin maybe want to say something, but any comments from our our audience?
For anyone attending via the Zoom meeting, you can use the raise hand feature at this time to make public comment on this item. I see none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Andrew. Colin, did you want to make another comment?
As of right now, I'm pretty good, except for I'd really like it if maybe there'd be a commissioner who'd be willing to take a pie in the face as part of a comic act.
Should I ask for a volunteer?
Yes, unless Andrew just like wants to do it anyway.
Colin would
told
like
him
to
I've
know, is there a
taken-
volunteer for one of our commissioners to take a pie in the face?
It would be pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie, it'd be pumpkin pie, don't worry.
If it was any other pie, maybe me, but I don't like pumpkin pie. I'm out.
If I didn't have a major cleanup, problem, I'd
Oh,
volunteer.
yeah.
I know some
Sorry, not gonna
stylists.
happen here.
Okay, seeing there are any other comments or anything like that, what is the desire of the commission?
We would just like approval to be able to use the property on that date and to reserve it.
Okay,
So that way no one else would be able to come in. And then also we'd probably need use of electricity and water while we are.
Okay.
Is there a bathroom?
And also, are the restrooms there as well?
There are not restrooms.
No.
There are not restrooms there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, we can work that one out.
There's, yeah,
okay.
so.
There's no more, if there's no other comments or questions on this, I will take a motion for this agenda item.
Oh, will you guys be doing trick or treating by chance?
Yes,
Yes,
Okay. then
What times? What day?
What, will it be on the 31st?
yes.
Michael?
I could jump in. We're gonna hopefully confirm that tonight with the city commission. I'm hearing that there's gonna be some consensus around that, but typically our hours are 5:30 to 7:30. That's what we've been doing recently, and we always do trick or treating on Halloween.
Awesome, sweet. Then yeah, we would definitely prefer the date of the 24th to not interfere with trick or treating.
Okay. Okay. I will take a motion on this item.
Mr. Mayor, this is Vice Mayor Good.
Yes.
I'd move that the Sturgis City Commission approve the request of the Sturgis Civic Players for their variety show event as presented.
No, second by Commissioner Klinger.
Thank you, sir. I have a motion to approve by Vice Mayor Good, second by Commissioner Klinger. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the distribute energy resources forms. John?
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and with me to help me go through this is Mr. Eric Sanju, who is the president of Power System Engineering in Madison, Wisconsin. So I just want to take a few minutes to go through kind of how we got here, and then I'll let Eric talk about what each document is and why it's there, and then we'll take any questions afterwards. So we started with putting together some distributed energy resource documents back prior to signing any agreements with the Prism Power Partners and for the solar project, knowing that we needed to have something that was a technical standard, an application, a study agreement. So beyond that, then once that project was up and running, we get a few calls from residents wanting to know what our process is and how we pay and so forth for behind the meter generation or rooftop solar. And like most recently was the Sturgis Public School students were asking or have asked us to take a look at developing either a net metering, modified net metering rate. So the first step that I've taken is to put together, or actually Eric put together these documents for your approval. So there's the interconnection application form, study agreement, then the technical standards, which is pretty lengthy, but that varies by the size of the project. And then the interconnection and operating agreement. So with that, I will let Eric talk a little bit about each one of those forms and what they do. And then I'll have just another comment or two, and then we'll take questions. So Eric, I think you're on.
Okay, well, Mr. Mayor and City Commissioners, it's a pleasure to meet you. I haven't had an opportunity to speak with you up to this point, so it's a pleasure. I have been working with John over the last few months in the development of these documents. All 4 documents that are in front of you do follow industry standards, and they're very closely aligned with what's happening, not just in Michigan, but in other states. So what's being put in front of you as draft are very much industry accepted type standards. So there's 4 documents, as John mentioned. Each of the documents has a purpose, and it all aligns with if you have a customer on your system, either a city resident or outside party that has a desire to interconnect a distributed energy resource. And today that would typically be like a solar project, but these documents are set up for various types of energy resources, so not just solar. But if someone were to come to the city and request to interconnect those facilities to your electric system, what would the process look like and which forms or documents would need to go along with that? And so the first of the 4 documents is really the interconnection application form. And the purpose of that form is to get all the specifics, both items on who the owner is going to be, what their contact information is, and any technical information with the distributed energy resource that they wish to connect. The information there is really a starting point for the city to start assessing what's being requested and the actual technology and the size of that project. The second document in front of you is what we call a technical specifications manual. And this manual really lays out all the technical specifications that the city would require for any party that would like to interconnect a distributed energy resource to your system. Excuse me, that document or manual is pretty lengthy, but again, it follows industry standards, and it's something that the city would want to have in place just to outline what those technical requirements are versus trying to address them after the fact. The other 2 documents are really agreements, and these are agreements that ultimately should receive review and approval from your legal counsel. But the first is a study agreement. And the purpose of the study agreement is if the size and technology of the distributed energy resource that it wishes to interconnect with your system, if it is significant enough, either by technology or size, it will require some level of study, engineering review and study to see what the impacts are on your system. So the purpose of the agreement is really the agreement between the city and the party of what that study will include and basically the entity that wishes to connect, their responsibility in financing the cost of that study. And then the 4th one is the interconnection and operating agreement. And that agreement is kind of the last of the documents. So after a facility has been applied for, the city has reviewed, it's been studied and approved, that last document or agreement is really what the terms are after that facility is interconnected and operating. So how the city and that entity will work together moving forward. So those comprise of the 4 documents that I've worked on here with John that are in draft format for the mayor and commission's review and approval.
Thanks, Eric. And a couple of things I wanted to add were just process going forward. So I think there are some steps to take. These documents, I think, are the first step. The next thing that would happen would be to look at the recommendation from Utility Financial Solutions and come up with a rate process. They ask for net metering, but of course we'll look at whether it's modified net metering or that sort of thing. So I will take those recommendations from UFS and bring those back to you for your consideration and approval. And also as a part of that process would be to take a look at how many of these are we willing to have on our system. In talking with Michigan Public Power Agency, who's our now power supplier, it was their recommendation that we do a pilot program. We want to take a look at capping the size, both the power and the energy that each one of these puts out, and also how many of these we have, because we want to make sure that the process we have in place for billing and metering works. And we also don't want to have so many of these out there that we end up with some system issues, reliability or performance. So it would be a pilot. So upon approval to these tonight, then if you approve them, then the next step would be to put together the rate and some recommendations for eligibility and requirements. So with that, I will answer any questions you may have, and more than likely, I'll have to defer to Eric, depending on the nature of your question.
Okay, thank you both, gentlemen. Is there any questions, comments from the commission?
If I'm sorry, if not, there's one thing that I forgot to mention. Eric alluded to it. I'm sorry for the interruption, but on the two agreements, there is some language in there that I would like to have the motion read that pending legal review of the interconnection study agreement and the interconnection and operating agreement. I want to make sure Roger takes a look at those.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I do have two comments, one from Vice Mayor Good and one from Commissioner Burr.
Vice Mayor Good.
Just want to do a summary check on this. We're getting into the solar energy activity, and so we want to lay out to those that may want to join in that program how they're going to do that. Is that the quick and dirty summary of this, John?
Yes, yeah, it's the intent. Here's the process, at least electrically. It certainly doesn't address the zoning requirements or that sort of thing, but
Right.
we want to make sure that we know what's going in, how large is it, and what impact will it have on the system, not only for the customer, but the other people on the system. And want to make sure we don't have issues with things like light flicker or harmonics and that sort of thing.
Right, okay. So, if we're getting into this solar program, we certainly need to have documentation of any interconnection activity. So I certainly see the purpose for these documents. I don't see why we should make a major issue of adopting these documents. I think it's something that needs to be done. So that's my opinion.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Burr.
Yes, Vice Mayor Good kind of brought forth one of my questions, and so it was answered, but I will ask another. Is that I've been going by the job site for Prism, and looks like we're a little bit behind on what our plans were at the beginning here. I thought we were going to be have the solar panels up by September. It doesn't look like we're going to be hitting that goal. Do we have a new goal in mind for getting things up and running?
The latest estimate, because of some delivery issues with some of the materials, is middle of November. I don't know what specifically Prism has run into as something that they had on material delivery. So I think on our side of things, we'll be in good shape, but they had some material delivery issues. So the last phone call was guessing around mid-November for commercial operation date.
Hopefully before the snow flies.
Yeah, for their sake, that would be nice.
That could be next week.
Yeah.
Bite your tongue.
Mhm.
Thanks, John.
Yep, you're welcome.
Any other comments or questions from the commission? Andrew?
I see none, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, any comments or questions from the audience?
Once again, for those attending via the Zoom meeting, if you have any public comment on this agenda item, please use the raise hand feature. I see none there, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Andrew. Seeing there's no other comments or anything like that, I will take a motion from the commission.
Mr. Mayor, this is Vice Mayor Good. I'd move the Sturgis City Commission approve the distributed energy resources documents pending legal review.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Support.
Who was that? Commissioner Burr, was that you?
That was one of me.
Okay. I have a motion by Vice Mayor Good, support by Commissioner Burr. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you for all the work you folks, Eric, you've done on this, and John, that you've done so far on this. Thank you very much. The next
you, Eric.
item on our agenda is the tree maintenance contracts. John, you're up again.
Very good. Thank you again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Having gone through this before, one of the requirements or requests of the city commission was we try to do all of these items at one time. So hence we're bringing all of these hopefully to you at once. And what I'd like to do is go through each one of these, and then we come back and try to answer questions. Also with us tonight, we have Lori Mann and Nate Kuzmas from Plant Growth Management Systems. So if there are questions, they'll be available to try to answer some of those for us as well. We've used Plant Growth since about 2014, late 2014, for the overall management and scheduling of all activities relating to line clearance, which is keeping the distribution transmission lines clear, as well as the street trees or terrace trees, whichever term you wish to use. The budget for line clearance is $350,000 last year and this year, and then the street tree budget is $150,000. So taking a look at the functions that we're expecting Plant Growth to perform for us for the coming year, estimating that their cost for all those projects for line clearance as well as street tree maintenance is $104,000. And they've done, I feel, a very good job for us, keeping the customers informed, customer contact, planning the work for the contractors, and handling any special projects that we have that come up. And I think the last one was for cemetery. Then we had some trees down by Franks Park that they were instrumental in trying to get that cleared up. So the recommendation is to continue to use Plant Growth. Next item is the line clearance. Last year, that was awarded to Tree Corps. And as a part of that contract, there was some language in there that would allow 2 one-year extensions for them to continue on. And the recommendation is that we execute that first 1-year extension. There is a slight increase in their rates for the various functions, but Plant Growth has been very happy with the work they've done. The quality work has been good. And so the recommendation is that we go forward with them again. And the estimated price for their portion of the work is $220,000 for the coming year. And lastly is the street trees, or public trees or terrace trees. We had 3 bids that came in recently, September 14th. One was from Asplin Tree Expert Company, Tree Corps, as well as Midwest. Those summary sheets should be in your packet, and the recommendation is for Asplin. Their rate per unit, their unit prices was much less. We're estimating their costs out of the budgeted $150,000 to be $110,000. So with that, I will back up and see if you have any questions, and if I can't answer them, then Lori or Nate can bail me out.
Okay. As Andrew, I'm just going to ask you, is there any hands from our commissioners that have questions?
I see no hands raised, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. I'm going to jump into, is there anybody from our audience who has any questions or comments?
Anyone from the audience who wishes to make public comment and is joining us via Zoom can use the raise hand feature at this time. I see none there, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. John, I guess just to clear something up from my purposes, and I just don't think, I don't understand, let's make sure I understand this. You've got some numbers here. You got the 350,000 for the line clearance and 150 for the public. That means it's a total bill of that total amount set aside is $500,000.
That's correct.
Okay, then out of that, the 220, the 110, and the 104, which adds up to $434,000, correct?
Yes.
Well, we're under budget.
Yes, and the reason it's that way, there are some other things that can come up. Sometimes there's herbicide application and tree growth regulator that may be appropriate from time to time. So yeah, there's we are currently less than the 500 that's budgeted.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was reading those numbers correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask if the folks from Plant Growth have any comments to make before I ask for a motion. Nathan or Lori, would you like to make a comment? Lori's shaking her head no.
Now I'm
Nope.
saying no, no.
Okay. Nathan, would you like to make a comment or anything?
No for me.
All right, thank you both. If we have no other questions or comments, I will take them. There are 3 motions on this item. I will take motions for them.
Your Honor, this is Commissioner Burr. I move that the Sturgis City Commission approve the Plant Growth Management Systems Management Services proposal for 2021 with an annual total service budget not to exceed $104,000 as presented.
Okay, I have a motion approved by Commissioner Burr. Do I have a second?
Second,
And who was that?
Littman.
Thank you, Commissioner Littman. A motion to approve by Commissioner Burr, support by Commissioner Littman. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
and Mayor Heil.
Yes, that motion carries. The next item in this motion for this would be the line clearance. Do I have a motion for this item?
Your Honor, this is Commissioner Burr. I move that the Sturgis City Commission approve the first 1-year extension for line clearance with Tree Corps LLC with an annual total service budget not to exceed $220,000 as presented.
Second, Littman.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Burr to approve and support by Commissioner Littman. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki, Commissioner
Is that
Wiki,
me? Yes.
sorry. Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes, motion carries. And the last motion on here is for the public tree maintenance agreement. I will take a motion for that.
Let's go for all 3.
All right.
I move that the Sturgis City Commission approve the public tree maintenance proposal from Ashland Tree Expert Company with an annual total service budget not to exceed $110,000 as presented.
Littman, second.
All right, again, I have a motion by Commissioner Burr and support by Commissioner Littman. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
and Mayor Heil.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all for the
Thank
work.
you very much.
on this very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is the airport primary runway project contracts. Andrew.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners. Included in the city's airport capital improvement program for this year was the rehabilitation of our primary runway. This is obviously a very expensive project. As with all our airport capital improvement program projects, it is a collaboration with the state of Michigan. We receive a certain amount of funding from the FAA and then support from the state of Michigan, as well as a small match typically on all projects that we do out at the airport that are eligible through this program. Because of the size of this project, this year we had to go for what's called a discretionary grant from the FAA. There's just too much money in the project for it to be covered under our normal breakdown of funds that the state receives. In order to receive this discretionary grant, we had to go out for bid fairly early. So you'll note that we went out for bid on this project in May of 2020. We had one bidder. Project cost from that bidder was 3.5 million, a little over 3.5 million. It was basically right in line with the engineer's estimate. In addition to that project cost, there is professional services contract with our engineering firm for $233,000, a little over that. That's part of a RFP that we do when we select our airport engineer. They get basically a contract to work with us on all projects within a 5-year window. We have to competitively bid those contracts, which we did, I believe, last year. When we do a project, however, their fee is reviewed by both us and the state of Michigan, leaning heavily on the state of Michigan to determine whether it is cost reasonable. And that fee was determined to be cost reasonable for this project. So the bid, as well as the professional services contract, are all part of the amount that was put out for grant to the FAA. A little bit of a quirk that works in our favor because of the coronavirus this year. As part of the CARES Act, all FAA projects through the ACIP, including these discretionary projects, are going to be 100% federally funded. So typically, there would be a 5% match from the state of Michigan and a 5% match from the local municipality. In this case, there is no cost match for the city. This project will be 100% federally funded. So that's obviously a big benefit for us. Included in your packet was a draft Exhibit 1 from the state of Michigan, which basically shows that breakdown and how the project works out. The other unique thing about this project is kind of a timing issue. The FAA has still not formally issued the grants. I have it on very good authority that should be coming tomorrow. I can't say for certain because that would be, jumping the gun, but everything is in alignment. We've been given a formal grant contract from the state of Michigan at this point. So everything is online, but the turnaround is going to be very quick. They're asking for us to get paperwork back very quickly, so I wanted to bring this to the commission as soon as possible. I also noted in the manager's report that they won't begin constructing this project until spring 2021. There was some question about whether they were going to try and fit it in this fall or do it in spring, but with the late date of the grant award, they've opted to move to the spring to ensure we have a quality project. The contractor is going to hold his bid until the spring, and it does not impact the 100% funding through the CARES Act of the project either. So that's a lot of information. I'm happy to answer any questions. I will apologize right up front for the length of the motions, but unfortunately necessary given kind of the circumstances of things. I see Commissioner Mullins has a question, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mullins.
Thank you, Your Honor. Andrew, you're saying that the 3.5+ million and the for the construction of it, and also the 233 for meat and hunt will be covered by the federal government?
That's correct.
All of it?
All of it, 100% funded.
I think we better hurry up and make the motion before they change their mind.
We don't get these kind of offers very often, do we?
No, when they told me earlier this year that was part of the deal, I had to double check that I heard it correctly. So
any other questions or comments from our commissioners?
I see none at this time, Mr.
All right.
Oh, wait, Commissioner Mullins was back in, and then Commissioner Good.
Okay, Commissioner Mullins.
Thank you again, Your Honor. One question: did we have portions budgeted for this for the federal funding?
We did. I forget exactly what was budgeted in this fiscal. I think it was before we got the bids, so it probably was less than what we would have had to do. A 5% match on this total, but it was an amount that we now do not need to pay. So,
Okay, and then a question maybe for Holly or Mike or somebody in finance. Would that money then that we didn't use for this project that we anticipated, would that be able to be used elsewhere for upcoming things that are on our agenda tonight?
Well, we don't have those funds, because I think we were anticipating the 100% funding, Andrew. So I think when we modified the budget, we don't have the 5%. We don't have that slated in 2021.
no,
right
no,
now.
no, not, it would have been in 2020's budget.
Oh, in
Commissioner.
2020's budget.
Yeah, yeah, there was an amount in 2020's budget that we had, but I think it was less than what would have been necessary at this project cost.
Yeah.
So the question remains, is it possible to use that funding that we had set aside for that in the 2020 budget elsewhere in 2021, possibly?
I think we kind of had talked about that during the budget work session a little bit. I think essentially, Commissioner, what it actually is resulting in is less of a transfer coming in from the capital reserve fund. So I think the capital reserve fund was going to be transferring money to offset that 5% contribution. And so we're not, that money is just staying in the capital reserve fund for some later future capital project that may come up.
Okay, and
So
I'm
we had
guessing,
originally budgeted in 2020 for capital reserve transfer from, to go into the airport fund that we won't need to do.
so that, was that $73,000? Is that what that was in the?
It was actually 50,000. So a portion of the project was going to be coming out of fund balance from the airport.
Okay, I'm just thinking of,
The contribution from general fund was staying the same, both the budget and the estimated.
all right, thank
Yeah.
You said Vice Mayor Good had a question or comment?
Yes.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I have a comment. I love it when the state tells us we have to do something real fast. And then we have to wait till spring to do the project. But I spent some time in the service. I learned about hurry up and wait. I don't have a problem with that. I believe that as Commissioner Mullins had indicated, we better move while the iron is hot. And so I would move that the Sturgis City Commission approve a construction contract with Michigan Paving and Material for the rehabilitation of runway 1-19 in the amount of $3,540,505.85 and authorize City Manager Michael Hughes to sign contingent upon award of an FAA discretionary grant for the project and issuance of associated grant contracts.
Mullins will second.
Thank you, sir. I have a motion to approve by Vice Mayor Good, seconded by Commissioner Mullins. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes. Motion carries. There is a second motion on this also.
I like to chime in here. First of all, I'd say that I think that's about 6%, isn't it, Andrew? I think that's a pretty good fee for oversight of a $3 million project. So I'd move that the Sturgis City Commission approve a contract with Mead and Hunt for construction phase engineering services in the amount of $233,850 and authorize City Manager Michael Hughes to sign contingent upon award of an FAA discretionary grant for the project and issuance of associated grant contracts.
I will second that as well.
Thank you, sir. I have a motion by Vice Mayor Good for the Hunt, Mead and Hunt construction phase engineering, and a support by Commissioner Mullins. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins.
Was that Mullins?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all. Thank you, Andrew, for the work you put in on this.
Mr. Mayor,
think-
one
Yep.
last motion.
Oh, there's another one? Oops. Got
Yes.
one more. Sorry about that. I didn't turn the page. One
Yes,
more
and
motion.
having been led by Commissioner Burr, I'll too go for 3. I'd move that the Sturgis City Commission approve and authorize City Manager Michael Hughes to sign all necessary documents for acceptance of grant funding for the rehabilitation of runway 1-19, project number 1-26-0092-2020 from the Michigan Department of Transportation Aeronautics and/or the Federal Aviation Administration.
3 for 3, I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Vice Mayor Good to approve the contract authorizing Michael Hughes to sign his paperwork, and support by Commissioner Mullins. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes, motion carries. I think we got them all, right, Andrew? All right. Thank you all. And again, Andrew, thank you for all the work on this that you put in. The next item on our agenda is the Administrative Services Specialist position. Holly.
Well, that's a really hard act to follow because that, I wish I could ask for that amount of money and have it be 100% funded. Unfortunately, that's not the case with this one, although it is kind of a one-year thing because we have an administrative reimbursement formula that kind of spreads costs across all of the city. So what I'm coming to you today to talk about is adding a full-time position at City Hall to be that would actually help with the additional work that needs to be done. We've had, with having over the last year, we've had a lot of turnover. We've had a lot of retirements. We've had some people leaving during the time of COVID. We had people that were on furloughed, and as we kind of started to ramp up, we brought them back and used them wherever we could. We've been doing a lot of training and retraining and training and retraining. And we've been really just trying to, really kind of doing our best to get through and really doing pretty well during this time. We, on the one down day that we had during the week, we really had used that time to really crunch out all the things, getting the bills out, getting the notices out, the main processes happening with the staff dedicated to that time. And so, we had reduced 2 positions back in 2010 when we did that. And it, it's been pretty helpful over the last 10 years when we've been working to get those projects done and try to save money in that way. We have our workforce. We've also, during this time, we've also, made use of our retirees who have come back and worked part-time, but they've been retired. Some of them have been retired for 10 years and they're, like I said, time goes like a blink of an eye. And we're going to have more staff turnover. We're going to have more retirement. So in trying to achieve the level of service and the level of timeliness that we want to have with our notices, with our bills, and add in one more thing, I guess, to mention is the absentee balloting, the voting procedures that are new this year. Wow, there is a lot of extra work. with that's been added, with all of the mailing of the absentee ballots. The other item is the cemetery. You know, we have, even though, you know, we're still using some retiree time, it's very limited. And we're doing more and more of that at City Hall. So we've done our best. We've used part-time people where we can. But we really still have, really still have a need to, you know, to add that extra full-time, this extra hands to be available. I think in your packet, we gave you a little bit of a breakdown on the just the lack of capacity for HR, finance, and admin support. I know I'm not asking for any sympathy, but I know a few of you have seen me here on a few off hours occasionally. The cemetery support, and again, on our down day, we did have, you know, 2 people that were really dedicated to crunching that out. Tried to be pretty conservative on this estimate. It adds up to more than 40 hours of time because we're not asking for, you know, 2 people. We're asking just really to add the 1. Yeah, I don't really like asking for these things, but like I said, as I said initially, you know, it would be adding it to the general fund budget is what's being requested, to add the full-time position to the general fund budget for the 2021 budget. And then going forward, it would still be in the budget, but it would probably, most of it would be recovered in the following year through the admin reimbursement formula that kind of gets spread across all the other funds of the city and comes back probably about 80% back to the general fund through that formula. So, you know, we've got, we have had some people working overtime. We've had, like I said, kind of all hands on deck. We have had somebody that came on part-time. It's helped somewhat, but on the days we really could use that extra help. So that's what I'm here to present to you today.
All right, thank you, Holly. Any questions or comments from the commission? Andrew.
Commissioner Burr.
Commissioner Burr.
Yes, the administrative service specialist position is going to include finance, accounting, human resources, customer service. Is this like going to be a somebody that's just going to basically roam and help where it's needed? Or is this going to be someone's assistant? But human resources kind of the word I'm searching for, I think, is more of a professional job that requires a lot of training.
Mm-hmm.
And so is this going to take over someone's position? Is this for somebody that's going to be leaving, or is this like an assistant position?
This is really, it's a professional position, really. I mean, we had someone who had worked for the city for a long time, who's retired, who's come back and worked at different times and has been able to just jump in and help at, you know, they've helped in community development when people have been gone. They've helped even at wastewater when that person was gone. Someone that, you know, you can really use as an assistant or to help out with burden wherever they're needed. But also in anticipation, I think, of adding, you know, giving them also certain responsibilities so that, you know, eventually we will have other people that will retire and leave, and it will help to give that succession. Because if we have, you know, there's a couple of positions here that if people, you know, left tomorrow, it would be just a gigantic hole to fill. So it would be pretty nice to have, you know, more succession planning. You know, I'd like to be able to teach this person, you know, the monthly crunching that I do, you know, so that I can, you know, be an overview and review the work instead of having to do it all. So, you know, I was anticipating that person would help me, definitely help in human resources with, you know, the personnel filing, with the, you know, insurance management, different special projects, that type of thing. So not so much an entry-level position or assistant, but, you know, this is more of a, like a you know, basically kind of like the next level down from, you know, from what we have now, I guess, in between just a counter cruncher, you know, cashier and what we have now with finance and human resources, and having that ability to have somebody that you know, like, for example, right now, even at the Doyle Center, you know, we don't have a person, you know, we're kind of all of a sudden having to open, and we don't really have people hired yet to fill that spot. And maybe this person could be able to go jump in and go over there and fill in where needed when we have those temporary vacancies. And that's the kind of person, you know, that I'm looking for to be able to do that.
Well, my understanding was you needed somebody more for the clerks area.
Yeah, yes, definitely in the clerk's area, but to fill in for that, but also, you know, in the event we could also have those extra hands to move around to other areas if, you know, if needed, if people are we're gone, you know, on a temporary basis, give us some extra ability to have some additional coverage there.
So how many people?
Primarily-
So how many people have we hired so far in the clerk's area?
We have a part-time person that's working, well, actually, what we technically already had a part-time person there with a retiree. So we really haven't had, we hired the full-time accounts payable payroll person, you know, had been part-time before, but that's not in the clerk's area. So we hired somebody new, but they were replacing, you know, Anna moved into the deputy clerk position. So we hired somebody to replace her. So we actually didn't add additional in the customer service area. We haven't added. And that's what this is. This would be extra hands to add in that area as well.
So somebody is doing accounts payable then, since Sandy is gone.
Correct. Sandy's gone. And Sandy
Right.
was part-time. Mhm.
But you
And
got
we
a
have-
full-time person to do accounts payable.
And they're doing accounts payable and payroll, both.
Okay. And then you got somebody who took over for one of the clerks, the other clerk, for the one that retired.
Correct. Anna moved into that deputy clerk treasurer position, right? We had someone retire there.
And then you've got Lori who fills in. And then
Lori,
she
we hired
part-time?
pardon?
Is she full-time or part-time?
She is full-time to replace the customer service position that when Anna moved over to deputy clerk, we hired Lori to replace Anna's position.
And then Michelle is,
She is part-time. We did have, you know, we had some retirees that were working 2 days a week.
right,
And they were only, they're not working 2 days a week now. So we have her working part-time to help cover that.
okay, so you have, then Donna's still there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm. Yep.
all right. So you do kind of have 5 people there then? Or 4 people at the clerk's office and then one that's doing work that one of the clerks was doing there.
Well, we have Donna, Anna, and Lori. are
And
the three
Michelle,
full- Well, she's just part-time. That's the position I'm asking to actually make full-time. Yeah, we have basically the 3 full-time, and then we have part-time.
have we looked at other part-time? I know that Sandy was part-time and Viv was part-time. Have we looked at trying to fill some part-time positions at 20 hours or even 30 hours?
It's just really hard to get the level of help that you need with a part-time person. Honestly, I was really very surprised. I mean, very happy that, like with Anna, we were really fortunate that we had hired Anna initially part-time. And boy, I mean, it was just immediate, you know, within a very short time, it was apparent that, you know, that we needed to have her full-time. But I was really happy to be able to get some additional help right now, even on a part-time basis, but I mean, it won't last, and that person will be moving on to find another regular full-time professional job. I was really fortunate to even be able to have the person even consider coming on part-time because they're a professional person. They're going to be going somewhere where they can find, I mean, benefit. A lot of people are hiring right now. I mean, even at other places very close by here, they're hiring also. So it's just really, really difficult. And the other thing with the part-time is you have somebody come on and then you train them, you get everything, you try to get everything going and then they leave. And then you're right back where you were before and you got to retrain and do it again and again and again. And it's been really, really difficult, very stressful, especially during this time with all the COVID stuff and to keep doing that. We've been really fortunate to have some, I mean, even in the beginning, Sharon and Viv both came back and worked, but I mean, that's been 10 years, that's been 10 years, like a blink of an eye. And, you know, like I said, it really was not a forever solution. Now we have other people that's 10 years later and, you know, we've got people that are eligible for retirement tomorrow. And we don't, you know, it would just be really difficult to have to hire that person, fill that spot. It'd be very much better to have somebody here working that over time could work into some of those other spots.
Let's see. And I did have a question on your hours that you have loss of dedicated production on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
How do you figure the loss of dedicated production?
Because and it was kind of conservative really, because we have the 3 full-time people there. So I could have put 24, but that's probably a little bit too high. So it's just trying to be conservative that, you know, on the Tuesday, on the down day, you know, you're dedicated to working to get those bills out, to get the notices out. You're not stopping to answer you know, you are calling back when people leave messages, you know, we're returning calls, but it's at a certain time of day. So it's just it's a lot quicker to get things, some of those processes complete, well, those process type activities completed when you're not being interrupted by having to ask a question, having to answer a call, having to stop what you're doing and I'm not complaining about that. I mean, we want to be able to serve our customers and we want to continue to be able to serve our customers in a really efficient, positive way. But we also really want to be able to get the bills out on time and get the notices out on time as well, without having to ask people to continue to work overtime. And the ballot, I mean, the voting, my goodness, I don't know how many of those we have to make. It's been all hands on deck with that process. That's been a much bigger endeavor than what I think anybody ever anticipated. And that's just something brand new. And then also you add in all the COVID stuff that we have to do now, you know, with cleaning our desks and all those types of things too. It just reduces overall productivity.
Right, I understand the voting's a hassle with all the mail-ins now and all the problems, but there again, that too shall pass shortly. It's another month or so and that'll be over, but that's not a permanent problem. So, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Burr, I would just say on the voting, which I am literally processing things right now, it is overwhelming, but it is more of a permanent situation. Everyone, I would say 70% of the individuals have chosen to be on the permanent absentee voter list. So each and every election, we will be sending out probably 1,000 applications, and all they have to do is return those. And so the volume will continue in perpetuity. The change to the election laws that allowed for no reason absentee voting have changed that until it changed it forever pretty much. And so we will have this level. Certainly it'll be more prevalent at a presidential election, But the school, if there was just a millage election where only, 10% turnout, it will turn from 10% to 30% for every single election at least. So this is it's not year round necessarily, but we have potential for 4 elections in a year. So each and every election will be quite a bit busier than it was in the past.
Okay, any other comments or questions from the commission, Andrew?
Mr. Mayor, I see Commissioner Mullins has a question, and Vice Mayor Good did have a question, but he seems to be having issues with his connection.
All right, we'll go with Commissioner Mullins.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Holly, after reading through the, I don't know what to call it, this project issue analysis report, down in option 2, down in the savings for that alternative is 50,000 plus. And the first sentence in there is, if only one full-time employee was not replaced, then the overall city budget would realize a savings of approximately $50,000. If a full-time employee retires or doesn't is not replaced when they leave, the realized savings is 50,000. Yet the new employee that we're wanting to hire, we're asking for 60,000. I don't know if that has anything to do with ongoing stuff as far as pension and that kind of thing, but it seems to me that a new person would be coming in at a lower rate than the outgoing long-term employee. Am I missing something there?
Well, that issue analysis was about 10 years ago. So the savings, there's been inflation really over time. So I think if you, I'm not really talking, that was based on, like I said, about 10 years ago. So just trying to look at what's the market, what can we get, what can we hope to hire a person for? And I'm not even sure that what we can hire the person for will be, I'm hopeful, but again, just trying to balance to do the best we can with, where the market is. Yeah.
Did that answer your question, Commissioner Mullins?
Yes, it did. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. We still haven't got our vice mayor back. Again, any questions here from the commission? Seeing none. What about the public, Andrew?
Any member of the public who wishes to make public comment on this agenda item, please use the raise hand feature at this time. I see none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I know Vice Mayor Good is not here, but if we have no other questions, I will take a motion on this agenda item.
Mayor Heil? I
Yes.
move that the Sturgis City Commission approve a budget amendment of $60,000 in the general fund for the administrative services specialist position as presented.
We have a motion by Commissioner Mullins. Do I have a support?
Support, Commissioner Littman.
Okay, I have support by Commissioner Littman. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Klinger.
His wrist, this is his elbow.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Burr.
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki.
Yes.
Commissioner Littman.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good, still probably not here. Commissioner Malone.
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins.
Mr. Mayor, at this point, is it appropriate for me to ask another question before?
I'm going to allow it, yes.
Okay, thank you. Getting back to where we were with the airport thing, and we had I believe it's from the Capital Reserve, $50,000 that was there. And this project is fully funded by the federal. I'll raise the question again and let you ponder it, but is there any way to use that in any way for this new position, possibly to help alleviate any constraints that we might have on the budget?
Can I jump in here? We could, I think maybe you could do a budget amendment to decrease the general fund. Follow me here, Holly. Decrease the general fund contribution to capital reserve. If you need to have that savings, I would recommend that we don't do that. I would still recommend we keep our transfer to capital reserve. There'd be a savings in capital reserve, and then we just have that expense that would show up in the general fund. And I think we're okay with that. That was what we plan. And as Holly said, it's a one-time expense that would be set up that way because we would integrate that into the administrative reimbursement, and then it would show up in administrative reimbursement and all of the funds that's applied.
Okay.
But I mean, the fact of the matter is we did save, the $50,000. It's just going to show up in the capital reserve fund. So next year when we're putting together a budget, we have $50,000 more, and potentially we could decide to transfer less from the general fund at that point.
Right. I was going to say we could have modified the transfer to the airport, but in looking at our 2021 budget, we kind of already are dipping into their fund balance somewhat with the capital projects that we have planned.
Okay, just something to think about. Getting 3
I appreciate your thought.
funding from somewhere is very good, and I'm not going to complain about that. With that, Mayor, I will be a yes vote.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I do want to acknowledge that Vice Mayor Good has rejoined us and does have his hand raised.
Okay. Vice Mayor, we are in the midst of a motion here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since I was gone, apparently you have a motion to create the position.
Yes.
Is that what I
Yes.
understand? Okay. I just wanted to make a comment before you take the vote. I wanted to draw an analogy of human resources to the military function. When you have a line of soldiers out there and one of your soldiers falls down or is eliminated from the battle, you replace him. And if you don't have enough soldiers, you get another one and you recruit a new one. And so it seems to me as if what this position being created is tantamount to recruiting another soldier to do battle. And so, but I want to think that we also have to consider when one of the soldiers leaves the ranks, we replace that soldier with another one. So we have to keep up with the human resources and not let that fall down. When someone retires, we need to replace them. And so we have to keep that in mind. And with that, I'll let you guys continue where you were. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Mr. Rhodes.
We have taken most of the vote at this point, Vice Mayor Good, so you're up. So the motion is to approve.
I'll vote yes. I think we need another soldier.
Okay. And then Mayor Heil.
I will vote yes also.
Okay.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That is a very good analogy. We definitely need another soldier. I appreciate that.
Really appreciate it. You understand. Moving along, the next item on our agenda is the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget amendments. And Holly, you're up again.
I am up again. So, Andrew, did the revised amendment get sent out, or can you pull it up?
I did send it out.
Okay.
If you don't have it, Andrew, I could pull it up.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead, Mike? I don't have it right at my fingertips.
So you had, there was a budget amendment that was sent out with the packet, and since that time, there kind of, as Andrew indicated, with the airport funding, there's just been a lot of changes, a lot of last minute changes, and I wanted to, can you make it any bigger? I don't know. Can you guys read that? Basically, in the first item there is the general fund, and in your original one that was sent out with the packet, you had where we were increasing the revenue by 414 and decreasing it by the 40 for the school resource officer funding. But since that time, we also basically were awarded through the CARES Act 3 different amounts for hazard pay, public safety, and also revenue sharing modifications. So as a result of that, there's an additional line under the general fund revenue now for the federal grant CARES Act of 310,000. So as a result of that, the revenue in the general fund for this fiscal year is going to get a bump. And then under the expenses there, we are modifying for, we've had, I think, as we talked about in the budget work session, we have had a great couple of years in the building department. So we're reducing that contribution there. We are increasing the contribution to the capital reserve fund, basically for the local community stabilization authority extra money. And we're reducing capital outlay, as well as adding the first responder hazard pay grant. Now, the other grants that we received from the CARES Act were for payroll reimbursement for public safety for the months of April and May. And it's just a reimbursement. Now it's about $243,000. So, initially, as we had amended our budget for the general fund, we were looking at a decrease in fund balance of about $250,000. And with these changes, the proposed amended budget is actually a net positive of about $19,000. So just about break even, which I think will, be a better, first of all, it helps offset what you just approved. And then also going forward into these future years will help put us in a good position. So those are any questions about the general fund changes there? Or do you want me to just go through the whole thing first?
Andrew, I can't see the commissioners again now. Is there any of the commissioners have any comments on what Holly just covered?
I see no hands raised, Mr. Mayor.
All right, continue on,
Okay.
Holly, please.
All right.
Oh,
Okay, I'll keep
I'm
going.
sorry. Vice Mayor Good raised
Okay.
his hand.
All right, Vice Mayor Good.
Just a question for Holly. You indicated that we may see a positive impact in future years, but isn't the federal CARES Act grant a one-time affair?
Oh, yeah, I don't think if I said that, I misspoke. I just said that I was showing that our fiscal year this year was going to have a positive, and that by having that positive rather than a negative in our fund balance, it puts us in a little bit better, healthier fund balance to be able to weather any future decreases that might come along.
Oh, so in other words, our savings account is not negatively impacted. When
Correct.
next year comes around, our savings account will still be good. Okay.
Right.
I
Yep.
get it.
Yep. The next fund that needed to be amended is the drug enforcement fund, and this just had to do with some additional expenditures, supplies that were needed in the drug enforcement fund. So that was about $10,000, and that I think was just a little bit of a just an education on how the budgeting process works. Because I don't know if you recall, we had a few years ago, we had a house that we were able to, we had a kind of a nice gain in the drug enforcement fund. And I think they had some additional supplies that they purchased with those remaining proceeds, but they weren't actually budgeted that way. So I think they get it now. The building department fund, 249, if you can go down a little bit further, Mike. That one, we again are just decreasing the contribution from the general fund. Next, the capital reserve fund, we're just showing the increase in the capital contribution from the general fund. And then at the last two there, we talked about this during the budget work sessions, but in the original one that was sent out to you, the employee benefit fund and the workers' comp fund, these are both internal service funds. And go down just a little bit more, Mike, please. Those we had in the employee benefit fund, we pay actual health claims through there, and we've had some pretty significant claims this year that's why our revenue is actually going up by 500,000 as a result of stop loss reimbursement, because our, even though we are self-funded, but only for claims up to a certain amount. So we've had some pretty good large claims this year and have had reimbursement, but the offset is an increase in the expenses. So again, that's just kind of an increase in and it's accounting, how we have to account for that. And then we had talked about this during the budget work session of transferring a little bit from the workers' comp fund into the employee benefit fund. These are both internal service funds. Not really much impact overall in the grand scheme of things. Just want to make sure that we don't have a negative fund balance in the employee benefit fund as a result of our actual claims experience. So that was it.
Okay. Any questions from the commission?
Commissioner Mullins.
Mr. Mullins.
Thank you, Mayor. Holly, thank you for all your work on this stuff in the budget and these amendments and bringing these all to us. I've just got a real a problem because every one of these funds, minus the workers' comp and the employee benefit, because I didn't have a chance to look at those because I just saw the email.
Yeah.
Started. But none of them match up with what I have as far as the budget's concerned. The first few lines do with the revenue, the expenditures, the contribution from the general fund, and that kind of thing. But when you get down to the beginning fund and the ending fund balances, they never do, because there's been other, I think all these have had additional budget amendments in the past that not realizing here on this stuff. And I'll ask, I think I've mentioned it to you before, is there any way that we can get our budget to reflect the amendment that we make during the year and be updated? I know that you're strained on work and you're asking for another person and this kind of stuff. I don't know how much work it would take. But is there any way we can, have a running one like electronically, that every time there's something done, we can always request a new electronic copy or something like this?
Are you talking about the beginning fund balance and the ending fund balance numbers?
Yes.
So those numbers are just the beginning like fund balance number. That's the audited fund balance.
Right.
So when you're looking at your, for example, the one that we just approved, the wrong one. So you're talking about the beginning fund balance numbers, right? And the ending.
Right. And obviously, if the beginning's not the same, the end is not going to be the same also. And that's the discrepancy I'm getting on all these things when I do the math. And I think it's due to the fact that there were some kind of amendment for not reflected in the actual paperwork unless you make notes of it.
Well, for example, of course, you don't have, I mean, when you say, that it doesn't match up, are you using you're talking about your 1920 budget, this one?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Okay. So, and so you're looking at the, the fund balance here, like the beginning fund balance here at the bottom?
Look at 213, the drug enforcement fund in your amendment that you.
Yeah.
Like the beginning fund balance of 25 to
527.
Yeah. Whatever I have here, it's showing that is actually the beginning fund balance would have been 13,374.
18,204.
13,374.
Oh, okay. So you are, you're looking at this right here, the 13,274. on this page?
Oh, hold on, I don't have the pictures up. Yes, yep.
Okay, so that number is like the, that was the estimated actual 2019. So at the time when we do the budget, at the time when we did the budget last year, that's what our estimated ending fund balance was. It's not what the final audited number is. And the ending fund balance doesn't change for, the ending fund balance here doesn't, this number doesn't change with any budget amendments that we do, okay?
Right.
So the fund balance, the beginning fund balance number, like right here, and again, this is your budget you have in front of you. So this was the actual audited ending fund balance in the drug enforcement fund at the end of 2018, okay?
Right.
So when you get your, so once we, like during the budget work session that we did this year, when we show you the actual 2019, because again, this was only estimated. So when we do the budget for this year, for the 2021, the first column here on your new budget will have your actual 2019. And so that ending, that fund balance is, that's just our beginning fund balance number. That's our audited number. Okay, it doesn't change with our, any budget amendments. So once that number, like once we've closed out the year, like once we've closed out 2020, that ending fund balance is our ending fund balance. We go through our audit and that number never changes with any budget amendment or anything.
Right.
But
Even though there are budget amendments during the year, that number remains in the budget.
even, it never changes, right? Even with all the budget amendments, it never changes. It's kind of like you're in the private sector. So it's kind of like retained earnings. Like retained earnings, like your beginning retained earnings, as of the end of, once you close out your year and your financials, you know, your ending retained earnings, it stays the same. All, you know, that number on your balance sheet doesn't change until your year is all closed up and closed out.
It's just kind of frustrating to me because I'm looking at these things and when we get to the end of the year, nothing matches up. And unless you keep specific notes of what was amended and that kind of stuff, which you do, I know you do. I just wish that I had more information so that I could see it at the end, but I guess I need to keep better notes.
Well, and I can show, if there, I mean, I am including that in your financial report, but I think, I can look at next time, adding columns so that maybe that beginning number is matching what your budget number is exactly, and then show the amendments so you can see the whole history. I can do that. It's no problem.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if there's something there that we can just at a quick glance see Fund 213 amendment of this date, this date or whatever. That's for you.
I want you to, I appreciate the questions and I want you to understand and want it to be easy to understand. So.
Yeah. Well, I understand there were changes somewhere along the way. I just can't remember where they are. And then we're just seeing these the budgets amendments at the end of the year here and the beginning number matching what the beginning are on the.
There weren't too many amendments. And like I said, we did do a few along the way, but the big ones really in the general fund had to do with that local community stabilization authority revenue, and then changing the transfer to the capital reserve. But
I'm just a number nerd. Thank you.
I appreciate that. But the beginning fund balance, it will, once the, like I said, even when you get your new budget for the 2021, that first number, that beginning fund balance number is going to be different, because that's your actual as of the end of 2019. And we're just getting ready to finish 2020. So right now, all we have are estimates.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
I'll do my best, and I'll just continue to try to improve the reporting so that you.
If it's not too much extra, I'm not.
Well, now that I have an extra person to help me, I might be able to do more.
All right, that sounds good. Money well spent.
All right.
Thank
you. Any other questions there or comments, Andrew, from the commission?
I see none, Mr. Mayor.
How about our audience?
If there's anybody in the audience who'd like to make public comment on this agenda item and you're using the Zoom, you're joining us via Zoom, use the raise hand feature at this time. I see none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I will take a motion on this agenda item.
Mayor Heil,
Yes.
I move that the Sturgis City Commission approve the budget amendments for fiscal year 2019-20 as presented.
Mullins.
Commissioner Mullins, you supporting that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Malone to accept the budget amendments and seconded by Commissioner Mullins. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank
Now we are into the two add-on items that Commissioner Littman added for us. The next item is item number G, and this one is entitled the Medical Marijuana COVID-19 Permit Extension. And I believe, Michael, are you doing this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Michael.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. And I'm going to try to move through this quickly. I know I sent it out later today, so hopefully most of you had time to read it, but we do have a number of people waiting for us on closed sessions. So put a little memo together. We've had this issue and there's some timeliness to it. Because of primarily COVID, I'm sure there've been other issues that these businesses have been working through, but COVID has had, I think, undoubtedly a significant impact on their timeline for their projects. We have a number of conditional permits that have been granted a 6-month extension, and it doesn't appear that they're going to be able to complete it in that time. However, they are, I think, working continuously and with purpose to try to complete their projects. And so had some conversations with Will Pritchard, who's been working with these businesses, and then also some discussion with Roger Berg as well about the idea of allowing an additional administrative extension of 6 months. So I provide a little bit of information on the ordinance that we have. There is the provision, of course, that allows six months to be a 6-month extension granted by the city clerk. There's another provision that allows the city manager the power to implement and administer the permit application process. Roger believes that I have the authority to be able to grant an administrative extension. I wanted to bring that to you and also get approval from the commission as well. I can also show you a spreadsheet I asked Will to put together just so that you could see some of the activity that's out there and where people are at with their permit processing. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and then in theory, bring up the other spreadsheet just to give you an idea of the projects that we have out there and when their conditional permit expires, and then also those that have already requested it and are in their extension period, their 6-month extension period. So Will is here. He's probably going to be better able to answer questions about the progress of some of these projects. And then we can answer any questions that you have. I am recommending a 6-month additional extension. Again, I mean, there was definitely a period where construction itself was prohibited, related businesses were prohibited. Now it's created quite a backlog for contractors. There's even, because of other issues, material shortage issues as well. So there's a lot going on that are uniquely impacting these businesses. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Okay, before I ask any questions, Will, would you like to add anything to what Michael said?
No,
All right.
you did a great job.
Maybe later. Are there any questions from the commission or comments? Andrew,
Vice Mayor Good.
Vice Mayor Good, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I see, I'm looking at that spreadsheet that Mike had up there a little earlier that talked about the status. One's expired, that North Bloom LLC will is out of the picture. And then there's two different categories, conditional on extension and conditional. And I would expect to hear that the conditional on extension are those that are currently within that 6-month initial granting, and all those that are listed strictly as conditional are awaiting their first extension. Is that a reasonable assessment of that chart?
That's correct.
Okay, so when Mike says that he's recommending that we do a 6-month extension, is that only going to impact the ones that are just conditional, or will there be an additional extension involved for those 3 that are currently on extension?
I thought that it made sense to allow that at least for a period of time for everyone, but let's let Will chime in here.
I think the goal with this 6-month extension was for the 3 that have been granted extensions that are currently working under a building permit.
Okay, and so there are 3 there that are in process of receiving an extension. Is that correct?
That is correct. They are in the process of providing the paperwork for an extension.
And so they don't need that additional 6 months. They're in process of applying for their first extension.
Correct. They have not submitted building drawings. We haven't received anything from that group.
And the 4 below, they're not even in that picture. They, one of them has a 2 of them have a building permit, but they're not in process of an extension because they don't need it.
They don't need it yet. So their conditional permits expire October 15th. They will be applying for their 6-month extension.
Okay. So the action that will be taken by the commission tonight is to authorize Mike to provide a 6-month extension, and he will apply that extension as it is warranted on each individual case.
Can I ask Roger a question real quick? Roger, do you have any thoughts on what the availability would be for all those that have a conditional permit?
To get an additional 6-month extension, you mean?
Right. Because they're all operating in this period where they're impacted by COVID. They're all on different timelines based on when their permit was approved. I'm just wondering if we would have to apply that equally to each of those that have a conditional permit, even though they're not in their ordinance extension.
I would think to take this additional request for the additional 6 months should really apply only to those that are expiring November 21. And then if the need arises for the others in the future, to provide similar consideration to them, depending on in a sense, a case-by-case basis. But I don't encourage granting, an extra 6 months at this time for those that have not requested the original extension yet.
Okay. Thank you.
So if I might chime in just again, we tonight authorized Mike to provide the extension to those that are within that November 21st period. And then we are also allowing Mike to look at each individual case in the future that may need an additional 6 months, and he can apply the same criteria that we've looked at here and decide whether or not to provide that 6-month extension at that time. I think that's what's happening here.
Michael, is that what you're looking for? Roger, is that what you're advising?
Dead silence.
That's what I'm advising, and I think that's what Mike's looking for.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions here?
I see no hands, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and what about from our audience?
For audience members, if there's anyone in attendance via the Zoom meeting, if you would like to use the raise hand feature on your Zoom program, you can make public comment at this point. I see none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Is this a consensus item, Mr. Mayor?
I was just going to ask that, or do we have to make a motion on this? Michael, does this, do you want, or Roger, one of you two, is this a consensus or is this, do we need a motion?
I don't believe we're looking for a motion. We're looking for general consensus, allowing Mike to exercise his discretion as city manager pursuant to the provisions of that ordinance.
Okay, so we're looking for consensus to allow this to happen. Do we have consensus? Just give a wave if you think we should allow this to happen. Okay. Got one more. Mr. Mullins has hand up. You have consensus, Michael, to exercise this power. We're giving the governor here.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Mullins has his hand raised.
Yes, Commissioner Mullins.
Just one thing there. If Mike does grant extensions to others, I'm assuming that he's going to keep us in the loop on that kind of thing.
Sure, I can do that. No problem.
Okay. Just in like your week summary or whatever kind of thing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for that. The last item that we added here was item number H would be, or letter H was public safety / first responder hazard pay grant. And Michael, are you doing this one also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Michael.
So you have a little bit of information about the hazard pay for the grant for first responders. Of course, we did receive that. The grant amount was 29. It will be reduced to 28 based on the number of eligible first responders that we have. We're not for certain whether this has to be approved by the commission, but we're just trying to make sure that everything's covered. When we brought this to you, our understanding is that the hazard pay had to be paid by the end of this month. There was a budget adopted by the state today, which we believe extended it to October 31st. So if we would have known that, we probably wouldn't have added to the agenda, but here we are, and we'd like to, of course, move forward with paying out the hazard pay to first responders. So we're simply asking the city commission to accept the grant and approve paying hazard pay consistent with the grant requirements outlined by the state of Michigan.
Okay. Any questions for Michael on this or comments?
See no hands raised, Mr. Mayor.
And what about our audience?
Once again, for members of the audience, if you'd like to make public comment, please use the raise hand feature. No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So again, I'm going to ask this question to be clear. Are we looking for a motion or are we looking for consensus on this, Michael?
This one, I think I would like to ask for a motion, which is going to require a roll call vote.
Okay. Do I have a commit, do we have, I will take a motion on this agenda item. I
Mr. Mayor,
can't see the whole commission.
Mr. Mayor, this is Vice Mayor Good.
Yes, sir.
I'd be happy to forward a motion
All right.
that allows the city manager and controller to provide hazard pay to the eligible first responders and accept a grant for said hazard pay from the federal government. And that amount will be, you want the amount in there, Mike? $1,000 per?
Yeah, it's up to $1,000 per. That's fine.
All right, and that concludes the motion.
All right. Before I ask for support, I'm gonna have Mr. Rhodes read that back so he's got what you said, okay? You're on, Ken.
Well,
what did I say, Ken?
we've got the YouTube, so that's always good. But I believe you're allowing the city manager and controller to pay the hazard pay through the grant up to $1,000. That's the gist of it, and then I'll have to get Roger and Mike to.
Yeah, and we'll probably make sure we include approve and accept the grant. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I had that in there.
Okay. Do I have support for this motion?
We have a question or a raised hand from Commissioner Mullins. Mr.
Okay,
Mayor.
Commissioner Mullins.
Thank you, Your Honor. The motion, as it stated, says up to 1,000 per. Would there be any reason why there wouldn't be 1,000 per?
No, there wouldn't. That's just the way the statute's written. So we plan to pay $1,000 and then it'll be run through payroll and the normal taxes taken out.
All right, great. Thank you. I'll support the motion then.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor about this hazard pay grant and what's going to pay out, made by Vice Mayor Good, supported by Commissioner Mullins. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger.
Bless you.
It looks like Commissioner Klinger's frozen for you. Commissioner Klinger, you're muted. Okay, I got a yes, I got a thumbs up.
Yep.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Well-deserved, yes.
Vice Mayor Good,
Yes.
and Mayor Heil.
Yes, motion carries. That concludes our new business section. We are now to the staff, commissioner and staff comments. Let me see if I can go around the room. I'm going to start down here at the bottom. John, you just popped back in. Do you have any more comments for us tonight?
I have nothing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And again, thank you for all you do. Will, you're the next one I see. Any other comments?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Again, thank you for what you do. Ryan, you're next on my screen.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for what you do. Michael, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to go up to Roger. Any comments?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Holly,
Nothing tonight, thanks.
thank you. You said it all?
Mhm.
All right. Ken,
Nothing tonight. Thanks.
Andrew,
Yes, just very quickly, Mr. Mayor, and Will should speak up on this one too. We've been awarded a 2020 Planning Excellence Award for public outreach for our master plan. This was submitted by Beckett and Rader, our consultant on the project, and awarded by the, I believe it's Michigan Planning Association, Michigan Planning Conference, yeah, Michigan Association of Planning. So just wanted to say kudos to both Beckett and Rader and Will for his work on the master plan and this award.
yes, I agree. Will, would you have any comments on that?
You know, I think it's a big group effort that we put together. So between city staff and city commission, planning commission, put all that together. So thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for all the hard work. Is that it, Andrew?
That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, well, let's go down to Michael, our city manager. Any comments, sir?
Yes, sir. Mike Stiles would probably want me to mention that the United Way Radiothon is tomorrow. Turns out that me and Holly and Mike Liston are going to be on it at 9 a.m. tomorrow as DJs to try to help raise funds. So we're going to represent the city and support the United Way. So we're looking forward to that. And another item I wanted to bring up real quickly, and I had sent some information about Halloween. We're getting, of course, a lot of questions about Halloween trick or treating and how we want to handle that. Ryan had reached out to the health department and had a conversation, and they're not recommending against trick or treating. Turns out they're going to be issuing, I think, some safety guidelines for people to think about when they're trick or treating. Communities are sort of, visiting whether they're doing it or not. Based on what I see, I would say most, if not the vast majority of communities are allowing trick-or-treating. So we typically have trick-or-treating on October 31st. And their most recent hours have been 5:30 to 7:30. The public safety director has always set those hours. So I just wanted to check in. I'm recommending that we set hours and issue some safety guidelines for trick-or-treating, but that we go ahead and allow it to happen. What we're not doing this year is having downtown trick-or-treating. And then also we've had actually a really great event out at Safety Town the last few years. But there's a ton of people. So those are the things that we're not doing, but neighborhood trick-or-treating, I think it can be done in a safe and reasonable way.
Is that it? Is that it, Michael?
If everybody's good, I take the silence as.
The only question I would have is there will an article appear in the journal?
Yeah, well, I'm guessing.
Stuff like that. Would Ryan put something together, or would City Hall put something together?
Well, we'll work together. We usually work together to put something out. So as I said, we're getting a ton of questions. People want to know if it's going to be allowed. And trick-or-treating itself is completely voluntary. So if you want to hand out candy, you choose that. If you want you to trick-or-treat and your kids to trick-or-treat, you get to decide that. So we'll let people know that we're not going to prohibit trick-or-treating and give them some recommendations on how to be safe.
Basically, again, an article in the paper will come out on that, correct?
Well, we will send something to the Journal and WBET.
Okay.
We'll do something on Facebook so that everybody's aware.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Wiki has his hand raised, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Commissioner Wiki.
You probably already thought of it, but the comment you said where everything is voluntary, I would suggest, that trick-or-treaters would go to houses with their porch lights on, and if they're off, that they're not participating, to respect those who would like to keep their distance.
Yeah, I mean, that's the general rule. Maybe we can remind people of that in the information we put people out. I mean, when I was a kid, I always gave it a shot, just it's out, just maybe they're there. But yeah, you're right. Reminding people of that general rule probably would be good.
Commissioner Klinger has his hand raised, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Klinger.
A good thought, Commissioner Wiki, to the porch light. I just had a couple thoughts. One was the trunk or treats that many local organizations put on. I mean, those are kind of a congested traffic situation. I was wondering if there was there or if there was anything that was discussed throughout the community. Just curious on that, because that seems also like a kind of a likelihood of high crowd, high traffic areas.
Yeah, I mean, I would encourage, typically those might be churches, but I would encourage them to reach out to the health department and get some guidance if that's something that they want to do, how they could safely do it. I mean, we can have events up to 100 people. You've got to, do the social distancing and so forth. So if they think an event like that can be done within the rules, then I guess that's their prerogative. But I would actually encourage them to contact the health department.
Okay. And then the other thing was that being as though that we're eliminating downtown trick or treating this year, and obviously other activities are kind of limited off due to COVID-19 concerns. Is there any thought to maybe extending the hours just a little bit more than usual this year, just being the anomaly of the year as it is? Kind of.
I wouldn't suggest that. One thing I heard from the health department is, having, at least having hours and parameters. The problem with extending the hours is that it gets dark, and I start getting worried about that. Maybe if we extend it on the front end,
I was more thinking in the front end. I mean, you said 5:30 to 7:30 is what you were intending.
Yeah, I think we would do 5:30, 7:30. And I mean, you have small kids and my kids are a little bit older, but I was always thankful that it was only 2 hours. I mean, then
I could
like, well, no, we have to stop at 7:30 and follow the rules. That's great. If it's 4 hours, they would have me all across the city. So.
Oh boy, yeah. I understand. I do understand your thought process there very much. So, just with downtown trick or treating being eliminated, I just thought the opportunity for people, whether they don't have the time later on rather than earlier. That's all. But nothing more.
Okay. I'm just going to continue on with you, Commissioner Klinger. Do you have any more comments on other than the trick or treating?
No, I do enjoy Commissioner Wiki's background. Very much approved of. Love that hot and nub.
All right. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Wiki, any comment?
Just one comment. It's actually about Andrew. Either Andrew's mic is going bad or he has a tea kettle going in the background. That's all.
I apologize. It's happened before with this headset. I will try and mute myself.
All right. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Burr.
Yeah, we were talking about maybe some ways of coming up with some money to pay for the extra help at the city clerk's office. One thing I would like to look at would be the elimination of the PSO position. We don't have a PSO model program. Therefore, I don't know why we need a public safety officer to run a program that we do not have. So I would like to entertain that at some point before we go further with looking for a public safety officer. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Good, you are the next one in line on my screen.
Well, how about that? Hey, Ryan, I see you're there.
I'm here.
I'm only bringing this up because I've lived with the same woman for 47 years, and I told her I'd say something. We have suffered here on South Maple Street with some larceny over the past couple of weeks, stealing my political flags off of my porch, my political signs out of my yard, my American flag pallet that I had leaned against my garage, and an individual took out some boards on my back lot line fence and is now using my lot and Haas and Kaywood's lot for a shortcut. So if you could bump up the patrols on South Maple Street during the night, my wife would love you for it. Okay.
Yes.
Other than that, I want to say that Halloween is the best day of the year because you celebrate the birth of your vice mayor, and I think the kids should be out there getting their candy. So I'm glad to see it's going to happen in spite of the COVID. Okay, thank you. I'm all done, Mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. The next commissioner will be Commissioner Mullins. you're next one on my screen.
Thank you, Your Honor. Not much. I just want to make sure that we're not too long-winded in our closed session because I need to get some rest so I can wake up and hear the Mike, and Holly show in the morning.
There we go. Thank you. Commissioner Malone, you're next.
I just want to say congratulations to Holly on her new grandbaby. I didn't get to tell you that earlier, so congratulations to you. And that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Littman.
Hey, congratulations also to Holly. Kids like that are a treat. Ours at 8 and 12 now, I think. The oldest one broke his arm in 2 places at football tonight, so this season's done. But other than that, that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Littman. The only comment I'll do is I want just to ask Michael. I don't know if, again, I've talked to him about this. Read the paper last week. It looks like our county commission is going back to in-person meetings. And I've talked to Michael about this to see if he can get any information, what they're doing to be able to do that. Michael, have you gotten any more back from them?
I did reach out to Teresa Doring. I don't know that they received a legal opinion on being able to meet in person. As I had discussed with you, I think it's possible to do some sort of hybrid as long as you keep the in-person meeting less than 10. And I think Roger could kind of speak to some other sort of complications of the EO that prevent us to meet in person. But if you did some sort of hybrid where, let's say, commissioners were meeting in person and then staff and other visitors, public, that they were meeting virtually, that might be possible. But I can let Roger kind of address the issue.
I guess I'm up.
Yes.
Executive Order 176 has been somewhat consistent with earlier orders. And in particular, the governor has as item 1 remote work. And it says basically, except in regions 6 and 8, which are up north, any work capable of being performed remotely must be performed remotely. And the concern I have is for our staff, the safety of our staff, and to be in compliance with the executive order. Since we can have staff do their participation remotely, I think we're obligated to follow that. Less clear with respect to the commissioners themselves. But I think you're going to be limited to 10. Obviously, we could have the 9 commissioners. I question how efficient it would be to have meet without staff. I don't know if you can hear my dog or not. Something's going on. But I would caution against having staff participate where they in a live session where they can participate remotely from home. I think that's #1 order, and I think we are at this point in time obligated to follow that.
Okay. All right. That's acceptable. Let's keep our eyes on what the county commission does. Other than that, I have no other comments. Andrew, would you just jump in here and explain to us what we're going to do?
Your Honor. Your Honor.
Full session. I'm going to ask for that. Yes.
I feel like I need to make a comment, reference Commissioner Burr's comment about public safety models. So I've been doing some work and plan to proceed with filling the director position fairly soon. So I don't want to, with that comment out there, I don't want to kind of lose the opportunity for some discussion. I guess in general, I would say that the public safety model is actually very prevalent, particularly with cities our size, in the sense that administratively, you'll often find a public safety director with deputy chiefs, even if the police officers are not cross-trained. And it's actually becoming more common than not and trending in that direction. And I think the primary reason is that our police and fire departments have worked better together than any time in their history. And I think the people that work there would tell you that what the model has done, which is really a public safety hybrid, has brought them together. There's been significant cross training on both sides, and we get the benefit of people working together, knowing each other, and I think that we absolutely have to continue that. So I just wanted to, I'm working on this and want to make a decision fairly soon, but with Commissioner Burr's comments, I just didn't want to kind of let that lie.
All righty, thank you. At this time, I will take a motion to go into closed session to purchase a property and pending litigation for Hamilton Kreitz arbitration case.
So moved.
Motion by Vice Mayor Good. Do I have support?
Support.
I got support either from Commissioner Mullins or Commissioner Burr. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good. Vice Mayor Good. I'm gonna.
Vice Mayor's on mute.
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes. Andrew, would you like to explain what we need to do here?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll keep it brief to keep the tea kettle down. You should have received a link from Mike, from the city manager, for closed session. You will leave this meeting using the red leave button should be in the bottom right-hand corner if you're on a PC. Use the link that he provided you to join the closed session. Once we're done in the closed session, you will rejoin the open meeting using the original link that I sent you.
All right. We'll see you in the next session.
Skip, you need to leave this one.
Commissioner Wiki. Commissioner Wiki,
Yeah,
how did you get that picture? Did you take that photograph and then put it into your computer and bring it up for a backdrop?
I got it from Uncle Google and
Oh,
put
okay.
put it behind me.
Google's got a picture of your hot now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just wanted to support the one and only Hot Now.
It is. It is. I can't tell you how many times in my travels I tell them I'm from Sturgis. Oh, I go there all the time. I like to go get an olive burger. Yeah.
It looks like we're all back, but Commissioner Klinger. All right. Are there any further comments from the commission? If not, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Oh,
Whitman.
Okay, I got a motion by Skip to adjourn. Do I have support?
Support, Commissioner Burr.
And roll call. Mr. Rhodes.
Commissioner Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger is not here. Commissioner Malone,
She's muted.
Yep, sure. That sounds good.
yeah. Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Good.
I might vote no. I'm having such a good time. Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
and Mayor Heil.
Yes. On that, we are adjourned. Good evening, folks. And we will
Good
see
night,
you
all.